You know, life has a funny way of rewriting your story, right when you think you've got the whole plot figured out. My story, the one I thought I was living, was fine. It was beige, a perfectly pleasant, beige-colored life. I'd been divorced for about 3 years. My dating history was, well, let's just say it was a parade of perfectly nice, perfectly predictable men. Accountants named Steve, who wore khakis on weekends. That was my type. Or, I thought it was. Then, one Tuesday, my friend Sharon, you know Sharon, the one who says exactly what's on her mind without a filter, she drags me out to this jazz club. I'm sipping a Chardonnay, feeling a bit out of place, when she nudges me so hard I almost spill it. "See that man over there?" she says, nodding towards the bar. "That's Marcus. He's a friend from my photography class. Brilliant, kind, single." She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to what she thought was a whisper, but was really more of a stage whisper. "And Linda," she said, with this gleam in her eye, "remember what they say. Once you go black, you never go back." Linda shakes her head, a little embarrassed. "Linda, I know. I cringed. My face actually got hot. It's such a cliché. Reductionist. Offensive, even. It reduces an entire, incredibly diverse group of people to a stereotype, a punchline. I was so embarrassed for her, for me, for the poor man who might have heard her. But, and this is the embarrassing part, a tiny, curious part of me that I'd buried under years of beige. It perked up. It wasn't the saying itself. That's nonsense. It was the mystery. It was the fact that my entire life, my world, my dating pool, had been so monochromatic. It was a door I had never even considered opening. So Sharon introduces us, and Marcus was wonderful. He was sharp, funny, had this incredibly calm energy. We talked about books, about jazz, about his work as an architect. The color of his skin was just a fact. It was part of who he was, but it wasn't the topic. He was just a fascinating man. We went on a date, then another. The conversation was easy. The laughter was real. And I'll admit, as we got closer, that old stupid phrase would echo in my head. I'd push it away, feeling guilty for even thinking it. Then the night came. I was nervous. Of course I was. But it was a different kind of nervous. It wasn't just the usual first-time jitters. It was the weight of that cliché, the fear of the unknown. What if it was different? What if it wasn't? What if I was making it a thing when it wasn't a thing? She takes a sip from her mug, collecting her thoughts. "Linda." And then, it wasn't about that at all. It wasn't about some silly saying. It was about connection. It was about presence. It was about being seen, truly seen. For the first time in a very, very long time, I wasn't following a script I thought I was supposed to follow. I was just there, with him. It was transformative. And I don't just mean physically, though that was... She smiles. Profoundly excellent. It was mentally and emotionally transformative. It was the antithesis of beige. It was vibrant. It was a whole symphony where I'd only been hearing a single instrument. Afterwards, lying there, I had this epiphany. It wasn't that I had gone black and couldn't go back. That's not it. That phrase is about locking yourself into a category, and that's not what this was. It was that I had finally stepped outside the tiny, safe, beige box I had built for myself. And once you step out, once you taste that kind of connection, that kind of presence, that kind of vibrant authenticity, you can't pretend you don't know it exists. You can't unknow it. It wasn't that I'd never date a white man again. It was that I would never date a boring man again. I would never date a man who didn't know how to be fully present. I would never date a man who saw me as just a checklist. My type wasn't a race. My type had suddenly become confidence, depth, emotional availability, a certain kind of energy that, in my personal experience, I had found for the first time with Marcus. We didn't last forever, but he gave me the greatest gift. He didn't just change my love life, he changed my perspective. He opened my world. My dating history is no longer a parade of Steves. It's a tapestry of interesting, wonderful, present men who happen to be Black. Because I put myself in rooms I never would have before. I said yes to experiences I would have been too timid to consider. So, no, it's not, once you go Black, you never go back. It's, once you truly connect, once you find what you've been missing, you have the courage to keep looking for it. And for me, that just looks a little different than it used to. And for that, I will always be grateful.